Mithridates VI, famously known as the Poison King, wasn't just any ruler, he was a king who mastered the deadly art of poison, becoming one of the most cunning and dangerous enemies of the Roman Empire. Mithridates was not only obsessed with poisons, but he also turned them into both a personal defense and a political weapon. So let us explore the tale of Mithridates VI, his life, his legacy, and why he was known as the Poison King. Mithridates VI was born in 135 BC in the kingdom of Pontus, which is in modern-day Turkey. At just 11 years old, his father Mithridates V was murdered, possibly poisoned, and this would have a huge impact on Mithridates' life going forward. Following his father's murder, Mithridates VI, alongside his mother Laodice VI and his younger brother Mithridates Crestus, were then all chosen to co-rule the kingdom together. However, due to the Mithridates brothers being underage to rule, Laodice took full command of the kingdom until they were of age. Now this troubled Mithridates VI, as he knew that Laodice favored his younger brother Mithridates Crestus, and that she may plot to make Crestus get the throne. So knowing this, he decided to go into hiding for several years, and it was during this time that he began experimenting with poisons. So in the ancient world, poison was a serious weapon. It wasn't just used to kill enemies in battle. Kings, queens, and nobles were often poisoned by rivals who wanted their throne or power. Assassination by poison was common, and anyone in a position of power had to be constantly on guard. That's why Mithridates became obsessed with it. He wanted to protect himself from the very thing that killed his father. Mithridates started by studying different plants, animals, and minerals that were known to be poisonous, but he didn't just stop at learning about them. He began taking small doses of poison himself. He believed that if he took a little bit every day, he could build up an immunity. This process is called Mithridatism, and yes, it's named after him. It's the idea that if you expose yourself to small amounts of something harmful, your body will get used to it and eventually resist it. He would also train and become stronger, and as the historian Appian puts it, Mithridates VI, full of daring, audacity, and determination, had prepared for war against the Romans from his very childhood. With this newfound knowledge, and now that he was of age, he decided to make his way back to Pontus. Upon returning to Pontus, Mithridates took swift and ruthless action to secure his throne, starting with his own family. During his time in hiding, his mother and his younger brother had taken control of the kingdom. Fearing for his safety and seeing them as potential threats to his rule, Mithridates allegedly had his brother executed to eliminate any rival claim to the throne. His mother, who had shown favor to his brother in his absence, was imprisoned and ultimately sidelined from power. This brutal move was a clear statement of Mithridates' resolve to let nothing and no one stand in the way of his reign. Mithridates VI would then rule Pontus for over 50 years, and during his reign, he fiercely opposed the expanding power of Rome. His resistance wasn't just about protecting his kingdom, it was about challenging Rome's dominance in the East. For decades, Mithridates VI waged wars that were eventually known as the Mithridatic Wars against the Romans, becoming a symbol of defiance and a legendary enemy of the Roman Republic. And as historian Dio Cassius puts it, he, referring to Mithridates VI, was always destined to be Rome's most implacable enemy. In the First Mithridatic War, 89 to 85 BCE, Mithridates VI swept through Roman-controlled Asia Minor and even invaded Greece, positioning himself as a liberator of people tired of Roman rule. After several battles, including the notable Battle of Chaeronea, he was eventually forced to retreat and make peace with the Romans, although he retained his throne. Despite the peace treaty, Mithridates VI emerged as a hero to many in the eastern provinces, having shown that Roman power could be challenged. This war solidified his reputation as a powerful, resilient leader, laying the groundwork for future confrontations with Rome. But Mithridates VI didn't stay quiet for long. The Second Mithridatic War, 83 to 81 BCE, reignited when he attempted to regain control over disputed territories, though this conflict was relatively brief and ended in a stalemate. During this war, Mithridates VI clashed with the Roman general Lucius, who invaded Pontus in an attempt to curb Mithridates' power. Although no major victories were won, the conflict further fueled Mithridates' animosity toward Rome and set the stage for an even larger confrontation in the Third Mithridatic War. He also would continue experimenting throughout these wars with poisons, cementing his name as the Poison King. He would use poison as a tool against the Roman Republic by poisoning wells, rivers, and even his enemies' food supplies during battles. He even created a special antidote, a secret mix of dozens of different substances which he believed could protect him from any poison. Some people say he tested his antidotes on prisoners to make sure they worked. Finally, in the Third Mithridatic War, 73 to 63 BCE, Mithridates VI launched his largest campaign yet, but this time he faced Rome's most capable generals, including Lucullus and later Pompey the Great. He gathered a vast, well-trained army and relied on his deep knowledge of the terrain and guerrilla tactics to fend off the Romans. Despite a powerful army and years of experience, Mithridates VI suffered heavy losses. After a series of defeats, he retreated north to his allies around the Black Sea. However, as his forces weakened and his allies deserted him, his own son would turn against him, ultimately forcing him into exile and cementing his demise. Mithridates eventually fled to the far reaches of his kingdom to escape capture, but he found himself isolated and without support. It is here where the greatest irony in his story arises. See, according to ancient sources, he tried to take his own life with poison, but his years of self-immunization made the poison ineffective. In the end, he had to ask one of his soldiers to end his life, ending the life of the Poison King. So, what's Mithridates VI's legacy? Today he's remembered for his knowledge of poisons and his strange quest to become immune to them. His antidote, known as the Mithridate, became famous throughout history and was used by people for centuries, even into the Middle Ages, and his story shows just how important poison was in the ancient world, not just as a tool for killing, but as something that shaped politics, war, and survival. And with that, thanks for watching, and if you found this story interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe for more ancient historical stories like this one.